We've enjoyed for over 30 years helping families not only selling and buying real estate, also helping people with their finances, helping people build their faith, helping people build their fun, and helping people strengthen, heal, and flourish in their relationships. 30 years of helping people build their life, their business, and their home.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.
Are people really wanting to get out of their house in February?
Yes,
I know I am.
I am. Like by February, usually we're gone. Like somewhere.
Usually
we've been usually gone in January.
That's the thing. Usually December, January, a little bit slower real estate months. We can let the team take care of things. And we can go away on a beach in Mexico or Dominican or somewhere.
Aruba,
hot.
I like Aruba. Anyway, so what you're going to learn in this episode is that spring fever really does happen. Spring fever is a time actually to spring into action. Spring fever is something that happens in the real estate market because people have been cooped up, and this year, way worse than normal because there is no bad weather. There is no bad weather, so I'm told. My friends tell me this all the time. I think it's kind of funny. They say there's just bad clothing for the weather.
I don't care. I'm not going out.
Exactly.
The weather outside is frightful.
So typically, we typically get away. And I think typically a lot of our Ottawa and area populace gets away. Maybe it's away to a friend's cottage, even in the winter, because a lot of cottages now are year round. Or maybe it's a way to visit family. And it's been over a year since I've seen my folks. And so though this whole COVID thing has very much, and I'm calling it a COVID thing because somehow it has less power when I call it a thing.
COVID thing.
A COVID thing. Yeah, COVID thing.
The COVID thing.
The COVID
I wonder how
thing.
the doctors and politicians would feel about you calling it the COVID thing.
Well,
Whatever.
not necessarily politically correct. However, during the COVID thing, the spring market, the spring fever is even greater than it would be in typical years.
Yes, and we've seen that. We've seen people wanting to get out, people wanting to buy a property, especially sometimes, and we're seeing a switch of properties, which is kind of bizarre. People in the city want to get out and have some country space, more space between the houses so they can walk around, they can play in their yard, whatever. Some are moving to cottages or waterfront properties because they can't spend their money on vacations, and they're reallocating that money into their real estate, whether it be renovations.
So many renovations.
Pools.
And the crazy thing with renovations is the prices have gone through the roof. And yet, if you're not going anywhere and you've been saving all that money, it seems to not be stopping the renovation. They're taking longer because it's harder to get supplies and the prices have gone kind of through the roof. And yet, it
But again,
is
it's that cabin
continuing.
fever, right? You're stuck inside too much. So you want to change your environment, or you want to change your location. And so people are moving from their small condos in. Other people are saying, I'm sick and tired of the snow and shoveling, and they're moving into condos. It's great.
It's like this is what we call the Great Exchange. And it's not necessarily the same person that's exchanging with another person. Although I have done that a few times where we've done the Great Exchange.
That's special.
Which is very special. And yet we're seeing transitions go in both directions, both from the city to the country and from the country to the city, and different styles of houses. So there doesn't seem to be a type of house, which is fascinating. Because usually, like over the last 31 years, I would tell you that there was trends in a given period of time where it was easier to sell when the gas prices spiked. There was a harder time to sell properties that had to be commuted to.
That's true.
Right? And then when interest rates went high, it changed ability to purchase. When interest rates went low, it made purchasing easier so people could buy closer to town rather than further away. Right? And now with COVID, it's causing a complete, it feels haphazard. Almost couldn't come out of my mouth because it feels so foreign to what we're familiar with. So
Well,
predicting is so much more difficult.
And you may be wrestling with that decision because you may have been said you're going to be working from home. And I've heard of companies that they have let their leases go. They've sold their buildings. They're saying, no, everyone's going to work from home from now on.
Starting now.
And so
starting
that
then.
increases the cabin fever. It maybe says, oh, I don't have a room that can be my office. I need some space that is separate from the family because I go to work for 8 hours and I can't have the kids running in and, you're on Zoom calls and all this sort of thing. So sometimes people need a different house just because now they have to work from home. Or the other big thing we're finding, if it's got great internet, it's a great house.
Right. If you got bad internet, your home's actually harder to sell. Unless it's a retiree only, but then even a lot of retirees want to connect with their kids and their grandkids, and the only way to connect with them is online. So they even want good internet.
We actually lost a sale once because the internet speed was not fast enough for working from home.
And they come into the house, do the test speeds, figure it out, because if it doesn't work, even if it's the perfect place to call home. And so the good news is there's more emphasis on getting internet to wider areas and to get high-speed internet to a much broader area.
Yeah, and we learned a little trick. I did it at the church, actually.
Yes, you did.
You could not get high-speed upload, decent down, but not great. And so what I did was even the cellular reception was poor.
Terrible. What do you mean poor?
So terrible. So we put an antenna up on the roof, or on the tower, actually, 50 feet above the church. And that antenna boosted the cellular reception. And we can run LTE wireless. It's a little more expensive, but we got super fast speeds now.
And so if you're thinking, I got to get out, I got to get outside, a great thing to do to get outside is get out and do some dreaming. Where do you want to live? What's next for you? What is best for you and your family, given the new lifestyle? Because I don't think this thing is going anywhere anytime soon. And even open houses, it's something that it's a little harder to do. So you really, to get in.
People used to love to get out and do open houses just to get out of their house.
Yeah.
And you can't do that very much now.
Very much.
Actually, Decker Team has decided no open houses because why put our clients and families at risk?
And why put you at risk if you're somebody out looking?
Yeah.
The risk is just...
You can make an appointment if it's the right house. We do the full eye guide tour. You can see around the house. Make a decision whether you want to see it in person.
And if you want to see it in person, we take the precautions to keep everybody as safe as humanly possible. So if you're thinking that a change, what about a change, Ken?
Well, you know what they say, Yetta.
I do?
A change is as good as a rest. And I've noticed that even with our clients, that a change is as good as a rest, even if it involves all the work of a move.
So if you're thinking it's worth a move, even if there's work and you're ready for that change, give us a call and we'd love to chat with you. We are so grateful that we get to be your advocates on the real estate and the life journey.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.